There
I
we
thought I
go.
had pressed it, but whatever, man. It's one of them days. All right. So let me start again. Let me start again with this one. All right. So basically, this evening we will be discussing Vampire Creed and Vampire Aphorisms. And the reason why I did this is because far too often we get Michael W. Ford's opinion on vampirism. We'll get Father Sebastian's opinion on vampirism, and not enough other authors or orders, organizations, or whatever the case, we don't hear too often from them. And because of that, people's opinions on vampirism is heavily based on what they read from Father Sebastian, from Michelle Bellinger, from Michael W. Ford, so on and so forth. And this skews our understanding of vampirism. It's usually not what you hear. Trust me, it's more to it than what we think. Those are basics, and I'm not going to deny those are basics that they're going into in their books, and they're building an attraction and people sparking people's, passion or ideology towards wanting to explore more. That's important. So I'm not going to stain them. I'm just saying that's not all that there is to vampirism. Okay? So when I go over this tonight, I'm trying to expand our views and understanding of vampirism beyond what the norm has been so far. Therefore, um, I ask that people keep an open mind, keep an open mind for the fact that everything that we're discussing, you have to take it with a grain of salt and see what applies to you and what doesn't. Not everything is going to apply to you. Okay. But if you're a vampire or seeking to be a vampire, a lot of things may vibe with you when it comes to what we'll be discussing. So, first, I'm going to start with the Vampire Creed. Now, this Vampire Creed is pulled from many different sources. Okay. You can Temple of the Vampire. A lot of people are not familiar with Temple of Vampire, but I will go into it briefly here because what people are going to find out as the cover is uncovered in vampirism and more things are revealed, they're going to find out where a lot of the source of this modern day vampirism actually comes from. There was a day that me and myself, brother Demetrius here, were having a discussion because I had sent him some information about an author who just seemed to have popped up out of nowhere. Um, what's his name again? N.D. Blackwood.
Indy Blackwood.
Yes. And he started dropping some information on vampirism and so on and so forth. All good. But then something happened because I've researched and got into a lot of the stuff that Temple Vampire have released years ago. I found that there was whole sections within N.D. Blackwood's book verbatim taken from the Temple of the Vampire. Like verbatim. No words were switched, changed, turned around, nothing. It was just verbatim. And I'm like, why don't people ever give credit to the Temple of Vampire? I'll tell you why. Temple of the Vampire is founded here in America. So that takes away the mystique of vampirism because the mystique that people have about vampirism is always like bathed in European folklore, European vampirism, Romania and Dracula and so on and so forth. But that is new. That is a recent phenomena of vampirism. That is a recent mythology of vampirism. Vampirism predates that by thousands and thousands and thousands of years. One of the oldest recordings of anything related to vampirism comes from ancient Kemet and the pyramid text in relation to the initiation that the pharaoh Unas was undertaking. That is really one of the first recorded instances of vampirism. But the Temple of Vampire had put out a lot of information And unfortunately, people are just plagiarizing and never giving credit. So some of this information that you have is coming from Temple Vampire. I mean, that I'll be sharing this evening coming from the Temple Vampire, so on and so forth, because I think it's far time people understand where a lot of the root of this modern day vampire magic or sorcery is actually coming from.
Hmm.
So, black, let's just put a black cross against a lot of the BS, clear our minds, and just go forth. All right. The Vampire Creed. I am a vampire. Self-explanatory. If I have to explain that, that'd be a sad thing. Okay? I renounce ignorance, stupidity, so on and so forth. Why? Well, one of the beliefs of wizards, sorcerers, and so on and so forth comes from a fact that people are stupid. Now, that sounds like just a blanket general statement, but there's more to that. The reason why people are stupid is because they want to believe a lie, even if the lie is, in fact, a lie, and they put so much credence to it as being true that they will forego any sense of reasoning, any sense of research, so on and so forth, because the lie is a lot greater in mysticism and mythology and all this spookiness that they forego any truth with it. People tend to be stupid. So let's understand that. And one thing you have to understand about vampirism, it is very raw, straight to the point. It doesn't care about your political correctness. It doesn't care about your morality. It doesn't care about none of that. That's for humans. And we'll get to that point later. Within us, we have a connection to this ancient bloodline of the primordial chaotic womb that gave birth to this vampiric energy, frequency, and vibration. And most humans are steeped in that, unbeknownst to many of them. Many of them do not understand that fact. We are spiritual predators by nature. Humans have always been spiritual predators or predators in its most mundane understanding of it. The problem is humans have disconnected themselves from nature. They've disconnected themselves from that predatory existence. So to say that you're a predator is deemed as a negative quality in this society, but yet millionaires, billionaires, people up and coming, so on and so forth, tend to be predators in their very nature. They tend to feed off of the weak. They tend to manipulate the weak. They tend to devour the weak to reach their financial greatness. But people don't look at it like that. They'll just look at it as, oh, they became rich. Well, they didn't become rich because they won Powerball. They became rich because what they created and what they used to get there many a times was stepping on the backs of people. Okay. Now, I understand the void. I understand death. And I exalt its presence. I exalt the presence of the death current. For it is in itself a affirming frequency, vibration, and element. In death, you understand what life is. In death, life becomes something more than just waking up and working 9 to 5, coming home, eating, going to dinner, taking a shit, shower, shave, whatever, and doing the whole process again the next day. In death, understanding death and the death current, life is celebrated. So we as vampires indulge in life. We enjoy life. This life is everything at our disposal to reach our apotheosis, to reach our levels of success and growth. whatever it is per person, we do everything to indulge and enjoy it. And that's something that we have to get through our heads because we can go through difficult times in life. We can go through hard times. And that makes people not want to live and enjoy life anymore.
Mhm.
But life is, in its essence, chaotic, transformative, destructive, but it's also rebirthing, so on and so forth. So we have to understand what the void is, the destruction, the chaos of death. We have to understand that in the void, you are destroyed and then reborn. Not once, not twice, but as long as you live, you will go through that process. So we have to get away from this notion that we're Jedis and we're sitting peacefully cross legged and that all we have to do is meditate all day and everything is great. That's not life. You don't learn nothing when life is going your way. And the whole look at how wonderful life is. It's when you are put in the struggle, you are put on Front Street where everything you believed was true is all suddenly shattered and you have to make something out of nothing. Now that people are like, well, that's impossible. No, it ain't. For those who've gone through that, they'll understand. They understand what we're talking about. They understand because that is what life essentially becomes. So if we're seeking the Himalayan mountains, we want to go smoke up some weed all day and night and think that life just falls into our place, into our lap, and we don't have to do nothing. Vampirism is not for them. This is definitely not for
Mhm.
them. This shit is not what it that's not what it is. All right? Not in the least bit. Why? Because vampirism is hideous. Yes, I said that. Hideous. It's unclean and completely amoral. Oh, what? We don't have morality? No, that's not what I said. Morality is a personal thing. Not well, the problem with people and understanding morality is that what we've been given as morality is a religious construct, it's a society construct, it's a family construct. But your personal morality is different than this generalized morality we've been given. Therefore, we completely are amoral in the sense of where you live, the society, what you were taught, so on and so forth. Because morality is another system to control you. So, as a vampire, we can be very lawless. We can. By its very foundation, it is lawless. But here's the thing, in that lawlessness, you still have to be wise enough to
Mhm.
know when you are getting close to becoming lawless and roped off and end up in prison. So you got to know how to be lawless without, if you get what I'm saying, without putting yourself at risk in your family, if you have family. All right. As an embodiment of the vampire, I seek to dominate and feed with extreme prejudice. Now, what does that mean? Another mistake vampires make. I'm just going to feed and feed and feed. Feed off of who? That's the first mistake a lot of vampires make. That they just, oh, I'm hungry, so I'm going to just feed off of anything. No, that is the wrong thing to do. You don't just feed because you're hungry. You don't just feed off of anything because you're hungry. You feed off of the top. Okay, so for let's say there's steak lovers out here, people who love steak. If you want really good steak, are you gonna just eat any bullshit steak, or are you gonna go get that Angus grass fed beef? You understand? You're not gonna just say, let me just go to fucking Hardee's and get some fucking steak or some shit like that. You're gonna want top of the line, okay? Top of the line, grass fed, no hormones, none of that shit in there. Top of the line shit. That's how your feeding should be. Because the misunderstanding people have about feeding is like they make it sound like it's a sport. "Oh, I'm just feeding, I'm just gonna feed and devour. You're feeding for a purpose, first and foremost. Feeding
Mhm.
a lot of times is to extend and become immortal so that you could extend your life long enough to receive the gnosis necessary for you to become immortal, not just in physical, but consciously, spiritually, so on and so forth. People just out here like it's a goddamn sport. I'm just fucking feeding. No, you got to have an objective. You got to have a purpose. If you are, let's say, preparing for a grand exam that you have to take for to be certified or to whatever, are you going to feed off the dumbest person around you? Or are you going to find the most brilliant person that possibly has the knowledge you need that you can then use that feeding to synthesize and assimilate that knowledge into you so you could pass the test? So why would you just feed off of anything? That's the same thing as horny motherfuckers just fucking anything. That ain't gonna serve any purpose either because in that stupidity, a lot of times people end up getting the wrong person pregnant. Now you stuck like Chuck with them kids for the rest of your life. You can't you gotta be a mommy or a daddy. Please be responsible, right? But a lot of times people take this as a free for all and they just bang bang and next thing you know they got a kid from the wrong female for the wrong man. Now you stuck because you got to deal with that knucklehead for the rest of your life. Mistakes, right? They're really not mistakes. They're just wrong choices. You just made the wrong choice because you didn't think. You didn't reason. You just bang bang. So when we say I seek to dominate and feed with extreme prejudice, I'm the prejudice is like, you're really defining what is considered to you optimal feeding, prime feeding. You have to decide that. You just can't be a free for all and have a fucking fast food festival. It's not gonna work. All right. So in domination, you gotta understand domination is can be a mental thing, a physical thing, so on and so forth. But domination is different to every person. Some people like to be dominated, other people want to dominate. Some people want to experience both sides. You have to ask yourself that question. Well, how far are you willing to go to understand what domination truly is? Don't just say, because I heard this in a class or a video, I'm going to just dominate now. No, domination is something if you plan to experience it, you need to really be thoroughly researched in what that actually means and what the process is and so on and so forth. Because a lot of times we get into these and we hear things like this. Oh no, I'm going to dominate somebody. Then we end up getting dominated because we thought it was a simple
Mhm.
task. It's not. It's not what it sounds like. Domination is starts mentally, and it starts by mind breaking a person, step by step, breaking them down. I don't know if y'all ready for that conversation tonight, but anyways, so that's another thing. The vampire recognizes his or her superiority over the human race of cattle. Let me say this again because sometimes hurts people's feelings. If it hurts your feelings, it's because you still identify as being this lowly human. You don't recognize yourself as supreme. Okay? The vampire recognizes his or her superiority over the human race of cattle, and therefore shall kneel before none. Let me say this again. Shall kneel before none. This includes your hail Satan, hail Lucifer, hail whatever the fuck you want to hail. Because when people do this on the left hand path, they're still worshiping. They don't realize it. These demons are not your friends. They're not your buddies. They're not hanging out with you around the corner. You're not slinging rocks and doing all this shit you think you're doing with them. These demons are powerful. They are dominating beings. You either come to them like you in control and the master over yourself, or you end up their bitch. There is no in between. And I've seen this. Dimitri has seen this, and other people in these classes have seen how some people end up fucked up because they opened the wrong door to the wrong demon because they thought they were hot shit. And because of it, that demon devoured the shit out of them. Then they're sitting in the corner somewhere, vegged out mentally. They're there physically, but they're just not mentally all there. A lot of y'all have met some people like this. You'll think back to it, yeah, that's possibly what happened to them. Demons are not your friends. I don't care what people think. Your demons, the most your demons should do is walk side by side with you. Why? Because you are your own God. They are their own, but we share knowledge and information. That's it. Because demons need you more than you need them, but people don't understand that. They need you to come enter here. You're already here. They need you to come here. So let's get this not twisted. Okay? You are a demon. So how the hell are you groveling to another demon? How the hell are you bowing and hailing this and oh Lilith, come tickle my left titty shit? Why? Why? I don't get these motherfuckers. Yesterday, I gotta bring this up because this shit had me irritated. So my wife was watching this shit and she was like, "Look, do you hear this shit?" So there's always some lady who claims to be a witch. Always some lady who claims to be a witch. Her titties was just packed practically popping out of the fucking screen. So you know
Oh
you're not
yes,
really listening to
neo-paganism.
her.
I love it.
Yes, you're not really listening to her as much as she thinks you are. Them titties is all in the screen. You're really watching the titties more than you're hearing her. But when that shit clicks and you're like, what the fuck is she saying? So she says, woman, you can't really master yourself if you married or have a man. What? I said, what the fuck? Listen, yes, it's about self mastery, no doubt. But in the process of self mastery, one thing you learn on, let's say, the tree of cliff off, is there comes a point in time you have to merge the masculine and feminine. If you have a partner, and if they're of the opposite sex, and I'm said that because in today's world, you just don't know. So it is what it is. You like what you like. But if you have a partner, that partner, if let's say you're a female and you're Lilith, that partner represents Samael, which is the consort of Lilith. That's that's a whole different level of knowledge, gnosis, and power that comes with that. Yes, you master yourself, but when you become yourself, when you raise up, it literally is when you learn to merge your masculine and feminine within yourself. You know who assists you with that process? The opposite sex. If people would just stop trying to fuck all the time and really work with each other, they would understand that. I didn't say you can't fuck shit. If you have a partner, y'all better be fucking. But I'm just saying, not all the time. There's more work than just fucking. Oh well, I'm gonna merge my masculine and feminine. First thing people think of right away is banging somebody. That's not what the fucking shit means, man. That's a part of it, but that's not what it means. What it is merging the masculine and feminine into one. It's a process. It's not a chemical process. It's a work of really understanding if you're a man, that masculine, but understanding what the feminine means. So let's keep it simple. My brother Demetrius shares this all the time, and I always use this example because when he broke it down, I love the way he did it, and it made even more sense. What feminine energy literally is receptive energy. It's receiving. It's learning to receive. It's learning to receive. Men have difficulty receiving because we as a conscious being are constantly in the move, constantly doing, moving, doing things like that, that sometimes we don't know how to stop and receive things, energy, knowledge, so on and so forth, because we're constantly trying to do stuff. For us, merging that feminine energy is learning to receive. Just sit the fuck still and receive the shit. Just receive. Like I can't say it any simpler. You just learn how to receive the shit. Like if it's energy, if it's knowledge, if it's gnosis, if it's whatever. Just learning how to receive and stop trying to fucking overthink the shit and trying to decipher it and all this shit. Because by the time you're doing all that, You missed what was really trying to be revealed to you. Is learning how to receive. So let me say this again. The vampire recognizes his or her superiority over the human race of cattle, and therefore shall kneel before none. We don't kneel before anything, male, female, transgendered. We don't kneel before demons, fucking this, that. We're not kneeling to nothing. You should stop if you're in that process and ask yourself, do I still worship these entities? You don't have to answer tonight. You don't have to answer me or anybody else. Just ask yourself that. Do I still worship? Do I still have this awe that comes over me when I do rituals? Do I still feel like I have to do a complete invocation that I found somewhere else and do it from beginning to end in that ritual? Do I still feel I have to do a ritual from Michael W. 4 from beginning to end the way he revealed it? I'm just throwing names out there. Do I? Or do I chop up what I just saw, received, or whatever ritual I looked at, chop it up and personalize it completely? That means reworking it, rewriting it, whatever is necessary. It's just a question to ask yourself. And that's important to understand because a lot of times when we do someone else's ritual letter verbatim from beginning to end, you feeding them more than you're feeding yourself. That's their energy stamped on that. All right. Now, the blood of creation is the life. Devour it. Now don't stop. We're not saying go drink some blood. We're not saying, this is fucking underworld and everything else, and you need to, have a chalice full of blood and devour the shit. That's not what we're saying. First of all, you have to understand the symbolism of what a blood represents. It represents the life force. Within the blood, you can find the sechem, the chi, the prana, so on and so forth. It's the life force. It's the force behind the blood. That's not the only place you can find that life force. You can find it in seminal fluid, vaginal fluid, so on and so forth. Sexual fluids have it a lot too. As a matter of fact, some people consider that more potent than using blood in rituals. You got to find what works best for you. Okay? But devouring it is learning how to devour that life force. Now, devouring is different than draining. People mistake those two. Okay? Devouring a lot of times is taking energy in and transmuting it into something else. When you drain something, you just bleeding them out and leaving them lifeless. That don't serve no purpose because once you leave them lifeless, you can't feed upon them again for a long time, or maybe never again. So you got to be wise when it comes to that too. Okay? Vampirism is elitist and clandestine. Well, that's a real good one for the left-hand path. Let me explain why I say it's a real good one for the left-hand path. Motherfuckers on the left-hand path, right-hand path, middle path, Jedi path, whatever path motherfuckers want to claim, do not know how to shut their fucking mouth. In today's fucking world, especially on this occult path, one thing I learned is people gotta give their whole goddamn business on social media to everybody. Oh, let me tell you what I learned in my ritual. Oh, Lilith has a message for you. Really? She has a message for me? That ain't for me. That's from you. She gave you that message and you trying to pass that shit off like it's for everybody else. Do you know how big your fucking ego sounds when people say that shit? Oh, Lilith gave me a message to you. I could turn on I'm no longer on social media, but if I still was, I could go on Instagram right now and find 100 motherfuckers saying Lilith gave me a message. She downloaded. Sorry, excuse me. Let me use the proper conscious terminology. I was downloading
Download.
your Lilith downloaded me information that I want to share for you. Shut the fuck up. She didn't download shit. Okay? But this is what you hear. I tell you right now, you could go do this and you'll prove what I'm saying that you could find at least 100 people saying that same shit right now. Liz has a message for you. Mm-mm. First of all, one of the things you have to understand, especially on the occult, is to know, to dare, and to keep silent. There's a reason why the last part is to keep silent. To know is the knowledge, getting the information. Okay, that's where we all begin at when we start this path of the occult, whether it's left, right, whatever. To dare is to push yourself beyond your limitations, your boundaries, so on and so forth, to obtain what you're seeking. But the last part is the secret. The last part is to keep silent. Why do you think they say that? It's not because it sounds cute or it's so poetic or whatever. It's because it literally means what it means. This information is not meant for everybody. What you personally receive is not meant for everybody. It's meant for you and you alone. Now, you can share it with those who are of like minds with you, who you're connected with. Yes, you could share it with them, and you guys can build upon that because they may have had similar results or similar information or whatever revealed to them. But when you guys go on, now I'm not talking about to y'all here. I'm just talking to people out here because I am posting this shit on YouTube. I ain't put one up there in a long time. This gonna smack them up in the face, whatever. So when they out here posting all their ritual and what happened, and I did this and I did, it becomes a joke. It's not real no more. You're trying to sensationalize this, and you're trying to convince me of things. That's a problem. Because those who really walk this, who've been initiated in certain paths, certain whatever on this left hand path, whatever other paths you've done, understand the importance of secrecy, understand the importance of silence. You still digesting, you're still transmuting what you received into something else, and you're already running your fucking mouth. People are already running their fucking mouth before they even before they even really understand what was told to them. All right. Now, let me go over these I can never say it right. Aphorisms. Aphorisms. All right. There are only nine, but these nine will pretty much lay it down for you. The vampire is the all-consuming, all-controlling, taking heed to neither the requests nor complaints of the lower slave species who are the mundane human race. Yeah, it's not that vampirism you're used to, huh? That Father Sebastian Michael W. Ford type shit that you're used to, huh? No, this is some old school shit vampirism. Okay? That shit's watered down nowadays. Let me say it again. The vampire is the all consuming, all controlling, taking heed to neither the requests nor complaints of the lower slave species, the mundane human race.
By the way, Father Sebastian is to be avoided at all costs.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
you can read his stuff, but him personally, I would say avoid him at all costs. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but Ravana, two more women have come forward and done interviews.
Mm, mm, mm. Put it this way, y'all will find out more about what's going on with Father Sebastian because shit's about to hit his fan and be more public than ever before. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
another story.
yeah, the law is probably going to get involved at some point.
Yeah, it's getting tough.
Yeah.
All right. The vampire is elitist and sees himself or herself superior to all forms of life. For this, definitely, this number two here is definitely not for your, how should I say, peace, love, and light, motherfuckers. I love everybody. Everybody loves me. I just love you, brother. I love you, sister. Can I just get a hug? Let's go hug some trees. It's not for them. No, you are superior to all forms of life. If you don't want to take that on, I suggest you don't. When you see yourself as something more than what you've always seen yourself, your life begins to transform and change. You will magnetize your life and attract and draw to you what you've always been seeking. If not, then stay looking or thinking like you're inferior. Stay thinking like you need somebody to big you up all the time because you should be doing that for yourself. And if you understand this, you understand why we say you're superior. You really are. You just have to really look within yourself and understand why you're here presently today, listening and digesting this information. Each and every one of you who decided to be here is because it's within you. This is literally within you. It's a ticking time bomb ready to explode to manifest into who you really are. Okay? Number 3, the vampire reserves the right by the very blood running through their veins to dominate all living beings. And I love this part. And bodies of light and consciousness. Oh yes, them light working motherfuckers. Mm, mm, mm. That's a hobby. I love to feed off of them. I do. Peace, love, and light. Oh, those are juicy. Anyways, not telling y'all too many secrets, but whatever. Number 4, the vampire makes neither excuse nor apologies. Hold on now, hold on. The vampire makes neither excuse nor apologies for his or her actions. For his or her actions are the will of the abyss. Mm. I'm just stay silent and let that marinate for a second. Okay, let me say it one more time. The vampire makes neither excuses nor apologies for his or her actions. For his or her actions are the will of the abyss. The vampire is not a part of the dayside world, though they do live in it and will partake. He is outside and she is outside of the mundane morals and laws. He condemns the light, for he or she is the shadow of the sun. Mm, mm, mm. The vampire is a force of corruption in the world, intent on dismantling, disrupting all established order. Oh, now we're getting even more hardcore. Yeah. You know how people who like, get in the left hand path, but they still want to be so obedient and just follow everything they hear? Nah, man. We're rebels by nature. Most people that really are into this path are rebels by nature. They've been rebels since they were young. They're just that's becoming more real to them as they get older. We don't like to conform. We don't like people telling us what to do. We don't like following people's 9 to 5 day jobs, night jobs, whatever jobs, and being told what to do. Most of us have an entrepreneurial spirit. See, I said that one right. Anyways, most of us like to be independent. We like to be our own bosses. Yeah, that's us. That's us. We don't like the established order. We are against it. We are. Our very nature is a threat to that established order. For sparking people to think for themselves and things like nah, that's not well received, you know. The vampire is not a life lover, he is a life eater. That's another good one. Number 8, vampire is fanatical in their conquest and makes no compromise. You hear that? We don't like to compromise. I know I'm like that. I hate compromise. The vampire is inherently and absolutely a son of darkness. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns before we finish off here?
Well, just on the concept of responsibility, that is also what actually makes you a god,
Right?
is responsibility. Being responsible for everything you think, say, do, feel, and then eventually you will be responsible for what others think, say, do, and feel,
Correct.
which goes into dominance. But you first have to dominate yourself.
Hmm.
Vampirism is a path of discipline, in a sense.
That's a fact, brother. Discipline, I believe is one of the greatest weaknesses many people have. I mean, let's just be real. If you know that, let's say you claim to be going on a diet and you can't last longer than a week, you have no discipline.
Yep.
If you know you have to work out or you want to work out because you might have life-threatening diseases, you know, starting to starting to develop and you have not enough discipline to go to exercise weekly, yeah, discipline is more important on this path than people think. I've heard a lot of people make excuses on this path. I've heard a lot of teachers who are occultists, not just this path, right? Not left hand path, but just in general occultists, made excuses and said they could heal themselves with a soda, but now these people are presently deceased or very ill. So the discipline is very important. I'm not gonna play with you and say, "Oh, you can do what the fuck you want. Thou wilt, do what thou wilt." That's all bullshit. Because that motherfucker who said it too is dead. He
Yep.
died early. Okay,
Found him face down and ass up in the middle of a magical circle that no
right.
one could take down.
Because we get these little, teachings. Oh, thou do what thou will, and people jump on Aleister Crowley and don't ever look at his whole life. And then they want to follow that and don't understand this guy died because he lacked a lot of discipline and a lot of different things. Ended up fucked up. Okay? So discipline, let's not joke with this. Discipline is essential, especially as a vampire. Especially as a vampire. Because of the level of this work, of what you're doing, and what it means to actually feed, you have to be disciplined. So, good point, brother. Very good point. And any other questions, comments? Doesn't have to be a question. It could be a comment. It could be your opinion. Doesn't matter. No? Going once, twice, 10 times? All right. No one has any questions. This is an assignment that I'm going to pass to y'all. Y'all can do it, not do it. It's up to you guys. Okay? But the assignment goes like this. Listen to this video. Choose one of the creed or one of the aphorisms and create your own personal ritual around it. So if it has to do something with, let's say, domination, how would you create a ritual around that? You could create something that signifies or represents domination to you. All right. So let's say the Sith. The Sith are very known to be very dominating type of, you know, uh, masters, right? So in the sense of what domination means, is it mental domination you're seeking? Is it physical domination you're seeking? If it's mental domination, and you would create a ritual where first you begin by learning to master and dominate your own mind because your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So, how do you dominate those thoughts? Learn to master by putting control over those thoughts and those thoughts not controlling you. That's the first level. Second level to that would be okay, then find a target to practice that upon now that you've done work on yourself to dominate your mind. But here's the caveat, here's the trick. This person has to be so tempting that they can make you go back and weaken your domination you just put over yourself, meaning controlling yourself. They have to be able to tempt you. They have to be able to loosen you to the point that you might violate your own discipline or domination. Okay? So don't make it easy and like, well, I'm gonna just pick this person. Yeah, no. Make it someone hard that y'all know you've been wanting this person for a long time, and now the temptation becomes real. Do you have the power to resist that? Do you have the power to dominate that person and not fall for their beck and call? So make it difficult. I'm just giving you examples. I'm not saying exactly that's how you should do it. I'm just giving you an example. But create a ritual if it's like domination. If it's feeding, let's say, okay? Create a ritual that allows you to understand every facet of what feeding is. Okay? What feeding really is. Something that you could experience it from all sides. Because I'm gonna tell you the problem with, let me go back to domination, right? And I'm gonna tell you the problem people have a lot with this. People want to dominate, but very few people want to be dominated. Do you get what I'm saying? So how can you really understand domination if you don't experience all sides of domination? Think about it. That's all I'm saying. Think about these things because whatever creed or aphorism you choose, do it in totality, 360 degrees. Do it from all sides so you can experience all sides to really get an understanding of what domination is, of what feeding is, or whatever it is people pick. You
I
can't
think
be
the
afraid. Go ahead.
lack of understanding with a lot of things is a lot of people's downfalls in the occult and life in general. Really, because there's only two kinds of people in the world. You have slave, you have master, you have predator, you have prey.
That's right.
You just have to know which one you are in any given situation. Which
Mhm.
really, if as a vampire, if you are aware of the role that you play, it doesn't matter
Mhm.
whether you're the master or the slave or
Mhm.
the predator or the prey. Because if you are prey, you're still the master, you're still the predator because you're using it. Study nature.
Mhm.
This is where pagans fuck up because they say, oh, we're a nature faith, but they don't understand nature. Because there are animals in nature that will play the role of prey to be the predator.
Mhm.
Sometimes you got to do that, you know,
Right.
and then use that to your advantage. We do it all the time anyway, unconsciously.
Yes, we do.
When you out there at the club trying to get some ass, what you doing?
That's right.
And ladies, we got a lady on here. Y'all do the same thing. You want to get railed or whatever, or you want to get in that man's wallet.
That's
Because
right.
women out there just as trifling as men.
Yes. It sounds like
And
playing the
yes,
roles of submissive. Yes.
yeah, because in the dominatrix submissive situation, it's the submissive that has all the power.
Yep. They just don't realize it.
Yep.
That's the trick, y'all. See, that's mental transmutation. We're trying to get y'all to see both sides. Both sides. When you understand that, then you understand what domination really is and how you could use it. Because when people
That's
think
why
of
I don't
domination,
really
yeah, go ahead.
I don't really trip with things that happen here in the United States and whatnot. Because you got some people with some of these movements and whatnot. Oh, they're trying to get rid of black people and all this little stuff. Or I got one friend that says, oh, they just won't let us do anything. And I'm like, first of all, who the fuck is they? And
Exactly.
why do you need permission to do a goddamn thing?
Exactly.
You start telling me to do something, I go catatonic on you.
That's right.
Are
That's
you okay? Yeah. I'm just not going to do what the fuck
100%
you just
correct.
said.
That's 100% correct because people feed into things and give them more power than they really have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a form of vampirism in and of itself. You know a person's triggers, press them,
Yeah.
and then you got them.
As the Sith say, Darth Bane, no, not Darth Bane, Darth Plagueis said this the best. He said, when you find a person's strength, you will best know how to undermine them. When you find a person's weakness, you will know which one best to use. Right? I mean, no, when you find a person's fear, you will know which of those fears are best to use to make them face that fear.
Mhm.
Okay? And so on and so forth. Why? Because that person actually has more power than you think, but they're letting you think you're in control. They're letting you think, and you're exposing, revealing all your weaknesses, all your fears. Mm.
And
So,
don't just think this is all just for fucking somebody up. You can actually help people too.
mhm,
But I'm just saying.
you can. But sometimes you can show people their own weakness,
Yeah.
help them with it. Sometimes people are not aware that they're weaker than they think. All right. All right. We got 5 minutes for the next class. So
Yep.
I'm gonna wrap this one up. I will be loading this on Patreon, but I also will be loading this on YouTube. I think it's far time to hear what the hell we've been doing this year. Here it is. We're gonna put that out there. All right.
Yeah.
Um. So Demetrius, I'll see you in 5 minutes. See the
All
rest of
righty.
y'all soon. All right.